facing foreclosure, behind on payments, or just at a point where you don't know how to handle getting your home sold during a financial crisis, that's what I'm here to discuss today. My name is Lena Sims. I'm a real estate broker with All City Real Estate, and I've been licensed for over 15 years. And my specialty is working with homeowners in distress who potentially are behind on payments or facing foreclosure. And I'm here today with Gina Collins. She's actually a past client of mine who went through a short sale process and has gotten her real estate license as well after the fact. So let's dive into it. Hi, Gina.
Hi.
So I like to start out just to get a little bit of background about you. I know you are a licensed real estate agent now. So if you want to kind of give us a little snippet of your last year and a half, kind of 2 years right before the short sale happened.
Okay. So I started working for Hofstra Home Group for Amanda Hofstra as a marketing admin position. She wanted a buyer's agent, and I like a challenge. So I was like, I think I could do that. And I started my schooling in the middle of the short sale process, got licensed in September of last year. So I just hit my 1 year.
So 2025, right?
2024, I got licensed.
2024. Oh, yeah, we're in 2025. Oh,
yes.
my gosh, yes.
I thought it was 2026.
I'm like, what year is it?
Definitely being on the agent side of it now, I don't know that I ever want to do what you do on the agent side. I didn't even want to do what I went through on the seller side. Honestly, you're a superhero with it because
thank you.
Just the constant back and forth with the bank, with agents, with hoping that a buyer will hold on long enough to get the approval, the breath of fresh air that you get once you have the approval, and then you just get to the closing table and it's like your hands are washed.
So we'll go through kind of more detail of that, but let's kind of set up what short sale wasn't your first plan. So can you talk about what was going on before you started the short sale?
So we owned our home for 2 years. We had bought it at peak of the market in 2022 on a VA loan.
Okay.
We, at that point, I think had put in what felt like at least a dozen offers on various homes and got constantly outbid by cash buyers, by...
VA was tough back then.
It was very tough.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to go through the appraisal process or the inspections, or like if there was something that needed to be fixed, the seller wasn't willing to do it. They just wanted a quick close. And hindsight's 2020. Had I known what I know now, I would have kept our home. I would have kept it as an investment property for VA. And I wish that I would have been educated in that. But we saw it where, hey, in 4 years, we had over $100,000 in equity in our home. And we outgrew it very fast. So we were like, let's sell it and let's buy. And we ended up purchasing the home and paying, I think it was like $20,000 over, asking me at a partial appraisal waiver. And the first year wasn't too bad, but that second year really kicked our butt. Our taxes went up, our insurance doubled. We went negative escrow almost $10,000.
And what does that mean for people who may not know?
So we didn't have enough in our escrow account to pay for the taxes and insurance on our home. And so...
Because normally it's rolled in monthly.
Yes.
And then the bank was like, oh, crap, we didn't take enough money. So let's now make you pay it right now.
Exactly. Yeah. And we looked at that like, holy cow. So I contacted the bank, our lender. How can we spread this out? Even spread out over 2 years, 24 months. It put our payment over $4,000 a month.
Oof.
And that's just not realistic.
Yeah.
And
your house was what price point, roughly?
We purchased it for $410,000.
Okay.
We tried listing it traditionally for $435,000 with the agent that we had purchased it with, and it just wasn't getting traction. our offers, and we sat with that for a few months, and we were already looking for other homes to move into that were lower price point, that were closer to my parents. We were looking at rentals, just anything that would get us to a reasonable payment. And we had one offer that came in that we were under contract for, that was an out-of-state buyer, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is the answer to our prayers. Like, this, they didn't want an inspection period. They had a partial appraisal waiver, so we weren't super worried about like if it didn't appraise. And so we went house hunting that weekend after we went under contract, found our now home, fell in love with it, went under contract for that home, and then that Monday they withdrew. Yeah. And we were like, oh my gosh, what do we do?
And that would have actually been a regular sale.
It would have.
When I say regular, traditional, no like extra
correct
added surprises. Nope. Just would have been a traditional closing.
And that was at the end of May, and we had listed it in February, I believe, at that point.
So now you're under contract with the home you love. You need to get out of this house because your payments have doubled.
Yep.
This buyer now backs out right during the, honestly, end of May is peak of our market season annually, right? So now that's gone. And
that's
now
when
what?
I came to you.
Oh, me, yay.
And actually, I went to Amanda, my team lead, first, and I was like, I need to get this sold. What are our options?
Yep.
And I believe that's when we brought you into the conversation. And honestly, like, your ability to just look at something and be like, it's a short sale, like, without even really, like,
Thank you.
I was like, holy, what do you mean? What is that? Like, how does that work?
And that's a big question, right? So what defines a short sale? And I think that's important we say now, because I can just say it like it's no big deal anymore, but probably someone listening has no idea what I mean. So a short sale just literally means that the lien, it doesn't have to be a mortgage. It could be a second lien. It could be a water softener lien, which it could be an IRS lien. It could be HOA liens, tax liens. There's so many different types of liens out there. It just means that the house is not worth enough to pay off the liens and all the expenses associated with a deal. So closing costs, realtor fees, anything that has to be paid off. After that, there's not enough money, so that is the definition of a short sale. So, yeah. So, I just want to note, and we're not going to say names, but did you have any thought or any guidance on your first listing period that this could happen? That there was an idea that there wasn't enough equity in the house?
No. One of the questions that I had asked was, do you think we're overpaying for the home? But I mean, when you purchase a home, you really go into it not with the mindset that you're going to sell it in 2 years.
Yeah. So
really it's like, okay, we were ready to stay there for our kids going through the school system, high school, everything. And then, a boulder kind of gets dropped on your foot and you're like, well, crap, what am I supposed to do now? So when I had asked the initial question of, hey, do you think we're overpaying, going $20,000 over asking, we were just mentally exhausted at that point. We just wanted to get into a home. We were on a lease back for our other property that we had sold. So I felt like we were just, the timeline was really coming down. And to be fully transparent, I hated that house. I hated that house the moment that we bought it. And I feel like there might be a lot of buyers that kind of are in that situation.
Yeah, especially from that time.
Yeah. Because I actually had a full-on panic attack the last day of option period for that home. And I really think that I was being told something, and I was like, I don't think this is it. We're going to be paying too much. Like, this isn't working. And I felt like that just fell on deaf ears. Hindsight again, like, it is what it is. I went through the experience. I think it's put me in this place now to be able to have the conversation, help other people around it.
Yeah.
But I hated living in the house, every bit of it. And from the minute we moved into that house, it was just a nightmare. Our kitchen flooded. We had a nightmare contractor. We were out of that home for 3 months, living in a hotel before we could even get into it. And I was just sitting there, bitter.
Yeah.
Bitter as heck. Like I knew it.
Well, so let's fast forward when I came in the picture, right? So I threw out, this is probably a short sale, right? Let's start this process. You weren't late on your payments at that time, were you?
No, we were just literally completely drained and having to pull sources from family to be able to stay afloat. And I'm super prideful in that. I don't like to accept help easily. I don't like owing people anything. And so having to do that constantly for almost a year, that second year, my mental health was not great at all. I was not in a good place. And just trying to figure out every option possible to be able to either make it work or not. And so when you told me you have to stop paying your payments.
Yeah.
Ish.
Which we timed as appropriate as possible, right?
I was like, how is that going to affect my credit? Are we going bankrupt? Like I was like, oh my gosh, like what's the recovery for this? And we were getting, subject to offers, which just I learned were not great.
So once we got that listed, did you feel, or when I spoke to you and shared with you the process, what was involved, that we were going to have to time it appropriately to have you stop, because banks do want you to be 30 days late to be able to get an approval on a short sale. How did you feel after that conversation of breaking down how the process works, how long it was going to take, what the requirements are?
I think I felt confident for the first time in that transaction of just like, and Amanda knows this, I'm very much like, I need to see a plan. I need to know the next step. I need to be able to prepare. And for however many months that was before, I felt like it was just a constant roller coaster of getting my hopes up, letting them down, figuring out, is there any option to sell this? Are we stuck here? Oh my gosh, what are we going to do for the next year? And then having that conversation with you and you just being, one, transparent about everything, which you've always been, very blunt of like, this is the expectation, this is what can happen, this is best case scenario, worst case scenario. Like my brain functions best on that. And so knowing every way out and in of the process, it just gave me a lot of confidence that I'm like, okay, this is going to work. We're going to find something. And also I know Amanda's a very, very great agent and pushes for her clients. So
Agreed.
Knowing that, like, having the collaboration between you two, I felt very secure. I felt very
and I just have to throw out, did your husband feel good too? Because there is another player in this that we don't get to talk to today.
So we all know my husband's a golden retriever. He was not ever really involved that much. He, even in the purchasing side, he's the veteran of the family, so we have the VA loan from him, but it's kind of just like he has so much trust in me and my direction, and if I'm like, hey, I think this is the way we need to go, it's hands up.
Sign here, he'll do it.
Like
awesome.
It's like, okay, whatever, I'm not going to question it, I trust you. So that's kind of where his part was in it, was just that stability of having that added trust on my side of like, I think this is what we need to do to be able to get out of it and move forward.
And I think it's important, not just in a distressed situation, but in real estate in general, we have to understand that all parties involved need to feel comfortable. Like I needed both you and your husband to sign everything, provide all your stuff. And so it's important that everybody is comfortable with it.
If he was pulling back with me, like if we were constantly like having tension around it, it would not have been as
tough for me too as an agent.
Yes, like definitely having an amicable.
Had to mediate some.
Yes.
I have to mediate some of these. So it took us 4 months?
I believe you guys took it over in June, and we closed October 31st.
Yep.
That was the longest 4 months. Like, looking at it now, I'm like, oh, well, 4 months isn't that
4 months
long,
isn't that bad.
honestly.
That's one of my better
Yeah,
ones.
having to think, oh gosh, if this was a year, if this was, oh man, I
How
was
much
so
of the
drained.
process do you actually feel like you were in? Because I do handle most of it, right?
Not
So,
anything at all. It was strictly the anxiety around the waiting game, which I am not a patient person. And you have to be patient. And I trusted you guys then. I trust you even more so now, being on the other side of it. But it's like, if you don't have that trust with your agent, if you don't have the trust with their team, then I can imagine like you'd go stir crazy, you know. I think I was asking Amanda like every 2 seconds, hey, like, everything good? Are we good? Are we good? And then
yeah, that doesn't surprise me now because I
yeah.
didn't know you as well
Yeah.
back then, but now I do. Uh, so we get to the point where we have an approval, and then did it feel good, scary, like where were you at once we got that approval from the bank?
It was like the immediate relief of, okay, we're starting the process and I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. But with that ever looming doom of, is the shoe going to drop? Right? Like, are they going to get fed up with it? Are they going to find another home that they like better? Are they really, is their agent setting the expectations of what a short sale process actually looks like?
Yeah.
Because I think that is really important too. Like, people think, oh, we can go, purchase a short sale and get a great deal. But if they don't have an agent that can really set that timeline and expectation for them, it could be a really stressful and harming process on the seller side, because I really think having a successful short sale is just about the expectation and the support that you get from the agent on either side and listing. And I was lucky enough to have that. If I had an agent that was like, oh, it's a short sale, we're going to list it, and had no idea what they were doing, I probably would have been committed to the loony bin or something. I would not have made it.
So I really appreciate this, and I want people to be able to listen. And if they are that homeowner that's either been trying to sell their house and maybe not being advised that there's not equity there, because that's what that is, right? There's not equity. And I want to point out again, I said it's the liens plus the closing costs. So it's not the bank. If you're going to have to come to the table with 10, 15, 20 grand after everything and you can't afford that, that is an opportunity still to do a short sale. And so as a homeowner that may be trying to sell their house in this market, which is a declining market right now, and they haven't been successful, what advice would you give them to kind of maybe reassess where they're at?
Set your pride aside first. That is like something that I think I had to swallow pretty quickly. Was nobody wants to hear like you don't have equity in your home. Nobody wants to be in the situation that we
and it wasn't your fault, right? You're paying your payments even if you're not able to. I want to help people understand that I was in a distressed market before when I got into real estate, and 95% of homeowners were in distress. That is unreasonably not anyone's fault. And right now the market, it's like 28% are distressed. And again, those stats, that's a market shift. That's a market. Our insurance have gone up, taxes have gone up, inflation has gone up. But you know what hasn't gone up is pay.
Right.
And so a lot of people are in that situation and they think, I absolutely understand how pride can get hit. Yes. But it wasn't your fault, right? It was the market.
There's a part of it I think that I did feel guilt because I'm an entrepreneur. I was an entrepreneur before I became an agent. So it was that, like, if my business could be more successful, if I could bring in more income, if I could have something more stable. Like, I went down that rabbit hole so many times, even re-enrolled in college. Yeah, that was.
So you did
I
tried.
was like, okay, I'm going to make this work. And then you just have to kind of sit back and be like, okay, trying to, ram a square peg in a round hole is just not going to work. And
Yeah.
so you have to pivot and really take in the conversation for what it is and take your ego out of it, take your pride out of it, and just see it as like you're not the enemy. You're really trying to provide a solution. And unfortunately, it's this.
Yeah.
And I was more terrified at our credit tanking and what that would look like in the future. But here I am, not even a year later, and credit has gone up 200 points.
Yay!
It was really not that bad.
Yeah. And I share, and I want to say this now, credit, the biggest hit for credit is not paying your payments for a long period of time. And so I can't make any promises, right? I didn't make any ungenuine promises with you, yet I do, being someone who is an expert in this field, try to time it as appropriate as possible so your credit takes less of a hit.
I mean, it went down quite
It
a
went
bit.
down.
Every time I would like get the notification. I'm like, oh man, like when are we gonna bottom out? Like what is low? But even like, I had a great lender too, and I think that's very, very important. Is our loan officer, Hannah. She's been with us through four houses now, 4 houses. And also just her support and being like, hey, like, when you purchase, you can refinance in 2 years after a short sale. Like her educating me on the other side of it too, of like going into a new home was also really beneficial. And knowing like, okay, it's not such scary waters when you have people that know what they're doing.
Yeah. Having the right professionals, the right guidance is important.
I mean, that you asked about what I would tell people in this market, just how we kind of always recommend interviewing agents that you want to work with for buying or selling a property, asking the questions around, what are my options, and seeing how that agent responds, and seeing, like, really picking and prodding them and see what their knowledge is. Ask how many short sales they've done, because really I feel like you need to be specialized in this. Otherwise you could really cause a lot of harm to somebody's life and mental health.
I think the mental health is huge because, yes, maybe if obviously the financial piece is big, but no one, if you haven't been through it, right, to understand that weight that it carries, to know that, oh my gosh, on the first, if I don't close, I have another payment to make. And what is that going to do for my family and everything? So, yeah, and the shorter we can make the process, obviously, the better. And sometimes it's out of our hands, right? The banks want to do what they want to do.
I think the best thing about working with you in it is that you have such a neutral energy about you. You're not reactive. You're not emotional when it comes to, on my side, was what would be very emotional. You're essentially almost like losing your house without losing your house. And you're like, okay, did I do this? What happened? All of the questions come up. But if I had an agent that was just as reactive and emotional as I was during that time, it would have just been a crap storm of chaos.
So now thank you for that perspective. And you are a licensed real estate agent. So now that you're licensed, is that still the same advice? Like interview, find the specialist?
As an agent, if I had to go through that again, I would not do it myself. I would still 100% go to you. Anybody that I would talk to, or if we come across a seller that is distressed, like 100%, I'd be like, we have the team. Between you and Amanda, it was just like a dream team of, I would never take that on myself. Absolutely. Even gone through it, and how I feel that I could potentially be a rock for people because I have had that experience and I can relate. Everybody's experience is going to be different. It's going to be unique to how they react, what the cause is, what has happened in their personal life for it to come up to being a short sale. And I know that I'm not the best agent to be in that position. And I think a lot of agents that are newer want to just try everything and be like, oh, let me just see. and then they find themselves in a position where like, what did I do? I should not have taken this on. So yeah, my advice would be find somebody that specializes in it, find somebody that has a neutral energy, that has the ability to be the calm in the storm, and also have the patience to be able to like pull them through the other side.
Well, thank you. Anything else you would like to share or add about your experience with doing a short sale?
Looking back on it, it's not as scary as it felt while being in it. So I think sometimes we get lost in the moment of the emotions behind it and the fear of, like I said, I need to know the next step. I need to know what's going to happen. And sometimes you just don't have that. And so really like looking back, being on the other side of it, it's fine.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think it's great to have your perspective, because you are one of those homeowners, or were one of those homeowners that wasn't facing foreclosure, because a lot of people tie short sale to distress and foreclosure, and sometimes it's you have to move. I had a client that they got a job offer and their house was no longer worth what they paid for it, because it was the height of the market, and we just had to do a short sale. It wasn't their fault, right? In foreclosure, there's always those different scenarios. But I want to just note that, again, it's not always because you're not paying your payment that you have to do a short sale. And you're one of those homeowners that you stopped it before it got there.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, took us by surprise. You get that sheet of paper and it's like, oh, you're negative, it was 10,000. And we're like, what the heck? And that's when I called Hannah. I'm like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean that we have all this that we have to pay? Otherwise, if had I not met you and Amanda at that point or worked with her, it may have gotten to that point.
Yeah.
But luckily it didn't. So.
Well, I'm glad to have you here, Gina. Thank you. And thank you for joining in. And if this information resonates with you in any way and you'd like to reach out, my email will be at the bottom. Look forward to hearing from you.